rAVe Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rants and Raves. I'm Steph Beckett, and this is our pre-Infocom 2026 series. Joining me this time is Sean Driscoll, VP of Sales at GPO Display. First of all, Sean, how you doing? How is the Infocom prep going for you guys?
Doing fantastic. It's always a bit frantic in the weeks leading up to it, but really looking forward to it.
Awesome. So first of all, tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm the VP of Sales here at GPO Display, one of our three founding members. We've been around since 2010, where we got our start as an OEM, manufacturing back-end electronics for commercial LCDs for some more well-known brands, perhaps. But then we started to assemble our own product early 2010s, getting into LCD video walls, and then gradually building a wide-ranging lineup of virtually everything under the large format commercial LCD umbrella.
Very nice. At Infocom, you're going to be kind of talking a lot about PoE displays or power over Ethernet displays. Those are getting a lot more attention lately. So, in your opinion, what do you think is driving that shift, and why are more organizations interested in PoE these days?
Well, there's a few benefits to it. The first that we found is that it allows for a greater degree of flexibility in where you can install digital signage. The first push behind this was for room status signs or world clocks placed above doorways where there's rarely an AC outlet, especially on, say, overseas military bases where it's exceedingly difficult to coordinate an electrician to come and install an outlet for you. So that was kind of the drive behind our development of power over Ethernet panoramic LCDs, and we found that there are many other applications for them that would benefit from PoE. There's also the benefit of a bit more stable power compared with the AC/DC adapter approach. Actually, a lot of these spaces that we've worked in have somewhat unreliable power. And so we've seen a significant reduction in failure rate with PoE. But there are some other benefits to it, such as the ability to back up, say, a PoE switch with an uninterruptible power supply to ensure critical emergency messaging gets pushed out even during, say, a blackout.
That makes a lot of sense because, well, even from just an installation standpoint, you're kind of most of the time relegated to being at least somewhat near an outlet. Like, you don't want to stretch and, add a bunch of extension cords. Like, that's not super great. So that makes a lot of sense. And especially, during a power outage, you want to still be able to get that messaging out to your organization. Are you seeing organizations start to think about displays differently as part of broader communication and kind of that safety infrastructure?
Absolutely. There is a lot more information that you can fit on an LCD compared with, say, an older red like dot matrix sign. And we are seeing a shift toward that, and the PoE capability does grant you the ability to show not only, say, whether a room is occupied or a classification status or the time, but other cues such as whether a microphone is in use and so on. So, it's allowed for, I think, a different approach to digital signage where you're not so limited to, say, these large areas on a wall or say a freestanding kiosk, although that can play into the PoE thing as well. But yes, it's just, I feel, starting to gain traction, but we have seen a lot of interest from, say, higher ed end users and other similar environments.
Makes a lot of sense. Something else you guys are focusing on at Infocom is TAA compliance. And this has obviously been around, but there has been, I honestly think, like a greater push and a greater understanding from like end users and the like of what exactly that means. So, for anyone who's listening who is not super familiar with TAA compliance, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So TAA is the Trade Agreements Act. It's been in effect since, I believe, the late 70s, but it's still, I think, somewhat misunderstood. It is not necessarily a national security measure, but it is a requirement that has been implemented for federal government procurement over certain amounts. And this requires that the product be substantially transformed in what they call a designated country. And there's a long list of these, but there are a few countries in which are not designated. For example, China, India, Vietnam, and others which we know to be designated, such as the United States, Canada, South Korea, Mexico, Taiwan, where if you're conducting substantial transformation, taking components and turning them into an entirely different finished product, that becomes TAA compliant. So all of our products are TAA compliant as they are either assembled here in Northern California or in South Korea. Um, we honestly don't even have the option of providing a non-TAA display, so kind of painted ourselves into a corner in a good
Yeah.
way.
No, but that's great because you're not limited to a lot of those like not it's not always high secure environments, but really anything government, even if it's a simple collaboration room, it's always going to have TAA compliant products in it from what I know.
Absolutely. And, there is some indication that even certain state governments may begin to adopt these sorts of standards in procurement. It kind of remains to be seen. I know that there are sort of quasi TAA requirements for certain foreign militaries as well. So it's certainly not just the U.S. federal market that's looking at this.
Absolutely. And we see a lot of the conversation around displays in the past focus a lot on image quality and specs, but now there's this other emphasis on simplified deployment and fewer failure points and long term maintenance. Are you seeing customer priorities starting to shift there?
Absolutely. I think there is an understanding that a lot of the additional connectivity features or smart TV functions that have been included on displays, while certainly useful in some applications, are often underutilized. And even when they don't present a security risk or where they're not potentially problematic in that respect, they can just be unnecessary and get in the way. Our approach has always been focus on our bread and butter, which is the components that make the display go. Just power supply, controller board, cabling harness, LCD panel, and deliver a dumb display, if you will, the bare bones required to operate it, and that makes it particularly I shouldn't say invulnerable, but certainly less vulnerable to security exploits. And so we're seeing not only a demand for that in, say, military environments, but financial institutions, other private entities where sensitive information is transmitted.
Makes a lot of sense. So, you guys are going to be at Infocom. For someone who is walking the show floor, if you had to give one reason why they should stop by your booth, what would that reason be?
Well, we have such a broad offering of commercial LCDs that regardless of the space you're working in or the market you serve, there's likely to be at least one thing for you. We have customizable kiosks, interactive tables. We see these quite a bit in museum spaces, retail, etc., corporate lobbies, LCD video walls as well, 4K monitors and touch screens ranging from 32 to 98 inch. As you mentioned, PoE monitors, both standard 16:9 aspect ratio from 21.5 to 43 inch touch and non-touch, as well as our PoE panoramic LCD lineup. We'll be showcasing a new 57-inch option. That's our largest PoE panoramic monitor to date. And we'll also be giving a sneak preview of some new direct LED video wall technology. So getting into that space very soon.
Awesome. Well, last question I have for you. Where can people find more about GPO Display and where can they connect with you online, Sean?
So you can visit us at GPO Display, that's singular, GPO Display, no S.com. And you can also visit us at Infocom in the Central Hall at C8184.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this episode of Rants and Raves.
Thank you.
And for all of you who are watching and listening, if you want to check out all of our pre-Infocom coverage, you can go to ravepubs.com/Infocom. Again, I'm Steph Beckett, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Rave Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be